Fat Vito in the house! This edition of the Fat Vito Show is Fat Vito's comic book collection. Now, what makes this comic book collection different than other comic book collections? Most people have, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, Mosquito Man. Is there a Mosquito Man? Anyway, this is a comic book collection. Comic books, great comedian comic books, classic comedians. Like Princess, here, we'll start out with Laurel and Hardy. Hey, issue number 1, Laurel and Hardy. Laurel and Hardy. This was put out by Dell Comics. Then you got the Three Stooges, put out by Gold Key Comics. Mo, Larry, and Curly Joe at the time. These were out in the 60s. These comedians had a renaissance in the 60s with cartoons on TV, and then they put out these comic books. And here by Charlton Comics is Abbott and Costello. I have 1 through 10. Now, the two biggest comic book companies were Superman DC. DC Comics at the time was called Superman DC. That was one of them. The other one was Marvel. Marvel didn't put out any classic comedians. But DC had Jackie Gleason, The Honeymooners, and, very rare, hard to get these days, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. Also DC. And then when Martin and Lewis broke up, which they did, they continued it, but not with Martin Lewis, with just Jerry Lewis. And because it was DC, Jerry Lewis was able to meet Superman. We'll have more in the next edition of the Fat Vito Show.